Jellybean. My name's Liam Turnbull, CEO here at TDM, and in the last 3 years we've grown over 100 creators to the 0.1%. And today we're going to have a look at Jellybean and we're going to work out exactly how she's built such a brand and ultimately made so much money. Now, standing at just 4'10" with a Latin background, she's naturally going to be quite a cute petite creator. She also happens to have nice assets, she's got nice boobs, she's got a nice ass. So naturally at the surface, she's hot. But as we know and we've seen so many times, that isn't quite enough to build a brand and ultimately make lots of money. Her main vertical is short form content, where she's producing lots of happy, positive, feel good kind of content. She's smiling, and so she's naturally passing on this like warm, happy aura that kind of makes you feel good when you watch her content. It's also oftentimes in public, so it's got that attention aspect of AidCast tipped straight away because it's like, oh, what's she doing here? What she's also done really, really well is to be able to take that attention and turn it into interest and desire by wearing provocative things like booty shorts. She's very clever with angles. She knows how to dress, how to move, in order to make the content quite sexually appealing. And so for guys that find her attractive, they take that attention and interest and it becomes desire. And they want to actually start to see more. So even without any sort of CTA or advocation of this OnlyFans profile that she might have, there's already that level of desire that like, hey, I want to see more of this girl. And pro tip here that she's really nailed is that her content runs for less time than you want it to. And so as you're watching, the video will end, and it will end quite abruptly as well, to where you almost anticipated a little bit more and you kind of convince yourself that I might watch a little bit more of this girl before it ends. So not only has she attracted this full retention from you, but she's also created this desire to watch more and more content, essentially repeat purchase, and so that's why her socials have grown really, really well. Even the name itself reflects who she is as a creator, because jelly beans are small, they're sweet, and so it suits her really well. And what I think she's done incredibly is to be able to take this contrast of being this cute, hot, attractive Latina creator that then captures so much interest by doing these amazing wild stunts. Essentially what she's doing with these stunts is she's rage baiting, okay? She's doing these shock stunts. She's creating the shock value of taking something like an expensive car and then just beating it up or pulling it apart or walking on it. She's baiting the rage in the comments of people that have these cars, people that want these cars, look up to these cars, appreciate these cars, because it's almost a disrespect and it's like, hey, what are you doing? These are nice things, why would you do that? But it's also like, wow, she must be really good at what she does if she's able to do all of this. And essentially she's just farming engagement because people are heading into the comments to create this uproar about what she's doing. Meanwhile, in the background, the retention is ticking over and over. And not only are people actually enjoying this content, because oftentimes it's filmed in great quality with a cool background, it's vibrant, it's positive, but they're also farming the engagement for her by commenting and creating this uproar about what she's doing. So it kind of all comes together really well and just again adds to the value of the content. And ultimately it's no surprise that she's accumulated nearly 7 million followers in this time as well. A couple of other things that I think she does really well. She's actually a trend setter, which is nice and refreshing. So many OnlyFans creators are just publishing the same content that they've seen somebody else do. And whilst she doesn't do entirely trend-setting videos, and she definitely jumps on some trends as well, it's cool for me as somebody who is consuming this content all day, every day, and immersed within the space, to look at someone and think, oh, that's original, yeah, that's cool, that's a good idea. And I'm almost taking inspiration from the content that I look at as like, hey, our creators could do some of this. And there's only a handful of people that I'm able to look at and have that sort of opinion on. So I've got to give the flowers to her and her team for doing an exceptional job of actually ideating the content as well. It's clear that they look at her and they've seen the opportunity to pull her tall boyfriend and another guy and do sexually suggestive content with her sat in the middle as a sandwich, right? It's unique, it's thought on the spot, and I like that. Off the back of that, she's also been able to attract a lot of cool people for collabs. You know, if we look at the kind of content she's produced, there's a lot of familiar faces in there. But more importantly than all of this is that she understands the premise of quality over quantity. The reason why she's successful isn't because she's publishing multiple videos. She's actually an exceptional example of someone who's just nailed both. She produces incredibly high value content that's incredibly interesting and engaging, and she posts multiple videos a day. It's essentially the dream outcome for an OnlyFans creator trying to attract attention on social media. But what we make clear is it's not the quantity that's got her where she is, it's the quality. Okay, she's producing amazing content, and that's the reason why. Because there's loads of other creators out there that shoot 3, 4, 5 videos a day, post 2, 3 times a day on Instagram, and won't attract 1% of the attention that she does because the content quality isn't there. Ultimately, everything comes down to branding and content, as I mentioned in every single video. She's got that in abundance, and she's done it at mass scale. So with all that attention on social media, one presumes that she's done an amazing job at bringing it to the OnlyFans and making money, right? Let's have a look. Okay, so her main verticals are Instagram and TikTok. What's interesting is that the TikTok just redirects to the Instagram, but we'll come on to that in a little while. The content is relatively similar across all verticals, to be honest. And in fact, a lot of the time, it's the exact same content that's just posted on both. What's interesting about the TikToks is that they're consistently being banned, so I don't think they have a solution for that. They're more just relying on churning. Ultimately, all of the TikToks move over to the Instagram. Now, this Instagram is obviously killing it, right? I mean, it's got 6.7 million followers, it's growing rapidly, all of the content bangs. It's in a very good spot, and it looks very safe because the kind of content that she's producing isn't really going to cause her that many problems. But as we've seen so many times in this space, you don't need to be producing outrageously prohibited content for the account to go down, and I think that she's relying on this account a little too much. Now, maybe she's just got a solution for an unban, right? I mean, unban solutions aren't exactly hard to come by, and with her leverage, I imagine people would be quick to want to unban it, even for free possibly. And so I guess they're banking on the fact that this Instagram can just come back. For me, there's a lot riding on it. There's definitely a little bit of risk there. What I do like is that there is just one simple, clean funnel, and it's deep linked as well, which is cool. I definitely think that it looks a little cheap. I think the background is horrible, to be honest, and I also think that this tool here for IP tracking is a little weak as well. All of her content is shot in the same location, and so do I really think that she's currently in Oxford, United Kingdom, when earlier today she posted a video in Vegas? No, I don't. And her stories and everything else don't match up to where I immediately feel a little bit like, okay, this likely isn't her. And there's some other things later down the line that, again, don't show the continuity of her being in this location that the IP tracking tool suggests that she is. This, for me, could be better, and in fact, to be honest, it could probably be cut out. There's no reason why you couldn't just have a deep link that just takes you straight to OnlyFans, okay? If it's cloaked and it's deep, it's effective. Now, what I do like is the CTA, okay? As much as I think this looks visually horrible, I actually think the CTA is pretty cool, right? You're adding value and there's only 3 spots left. So a little bit of scarcity, a little bit of urgency, value equation's relatively strong. I don't think it's a bad CTA. Okay, so let's take a look at the OnlyFans page. What have we got here? Well, firstly, my eyes immediately see this black line on the left of the cover photo. For a page of this size, the volume that they get, I would just have a little bit more pride in my work and just make sure that that's not there. I'm not suggesting this is going to harm the conversion or anything like that, really, but you just get it right, wouldn't you? Next thing that I'm noticing here is that this bio must be written with GPT. It's got that little bait dash that GPT produces. And to be honest, I mean, the ultimate pocket-sized freak. It's clearly AI. I don't think it's actually bad, but I just wouldn't have an AI description, especially given that most people will recognize that that's AI. Just write something custom, even if you use AI as a prompt. 4'10", good. You're advocating a good thing that relates back to the Jellybean cute petite persona that she has. 96 pounds of pure naughtiness. I think that's gold. 96 pounds, it's like, you start thinking about what you can do with 96 pounds, right? So yeah, definitely a good first line. The next bit with the emojis, I mean, emojis are great. Going back to AidCast, attention grab emojis, bold, free new videos every month. I like that. Again, we're increasing the value there. I think as far as AidCast goes, this journey so far has been pretty good. There's definitely a couple things that I would do, but I don't want to give away too much sauce. The value equation here is actually bang on. If we look at the 200 plus exclusive videos, solos, BG, GG, threesomes and more, there's the dream outcome straight away. Okay, the dream outcome for these guys is, okay, she's cute, I like her content, she's wearing booty shorts and she's kind of hot, so the interest and desire is there. The conviction maybe is something that I think we could work on. This is going to be the part of AidCast that I would look more thoroughly at. There's not really been anything in this funnel so far that's given me conviction that this is something I have to get. In typical business, we'd see things like reviews, testimonials that just give you that conviction that this is the right purchase. Not really getting that here, and of course it's never going to be the case with an OnlyFans profile. They're not going to publish testimonials, but I haven't had that conviction. I don't feel like this is the best decision for me. I'm still unsure, right? But as far as the action goes, I mean, creating that value equation so that we think it's a great buy, she's definitely doing a pretty good job of that. So we've got all of these videos, including squirting, anal, she's fetish friendly. So the dream outcome of like, I want this video, I want this crazy custom, I want this fetish based video, I want lots of content, you know, there's loads of media on the profile, lots of photos, lots of videos. The dream outcome is being conveyed in full effect. So step 1 of 4 in the value equation, she's absolutely crushed it. Next, we want to look at the perceived likelihood of achievement. Okay, so how likely is it that I'm actually going to get my dream outcome? Well, if the dream outcome is all this videos, they're already on the page, they're on the feed. So not only do you get them easily, but you get them right now for free with no time delay, and you can achieve them very, very quickly. And if it is a more custom request, she replies to all DMs and loves to sext. So you're going to be able to get your dream outcome. As far as the time delay, which is step 3 of the value equation, we're on OnlyFans. Things are instant, PPVs are instant, feed posts you can watch instantly. So there's no time delay. And again, referencing that I reply to all DMs and love to sext, you could guess that even if it is custom, you still might get it with a bit of proficiency. Finally, effort and sacrifice, which is step 4. There isn't really any effort or sacrifice that you have to give to get the content. So the value equation is a huge tick. She's done an awesome job. I'm not sure on the legal disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to sit here and say that she should or shouldn't have that. I'm just not sure that it's going to do anything. Ultimately, the leakers go and leak. And they already do leak in abundance, as everybody can see. I wouldn't say this is doing a whole lot, and in fact it just adds this kind of like professionalism to the page that maybe takes away from the impulse. I also think the location of above the clouds, I mean, it's a little typical, it's probably a little trashy to be honest. I probably would pull away from that. And if we're going to go with the IG bio where we're using that IP tracking tool, I changed the location to something like a couple of miles away, right? Like 5.6, 7.9, 13.2, whatever. A number of distance in miles or kilometers away from me, so that I think, oh, she's in my location on Instagram, go on to OnlyFans, oh, she's only so many miles away. It at least conveys a little bit of truth, whereas just that IP tracking tool when she's on Instagram in Vegas, I just don't believe it. And then above the clouds, it's like, where is this girl then? Because she's everywhere at once. Final little pro tip here. I think the subscription price and promotional campaign is good. It's a good offer with a good CTA. It's nicely discounted and the renew price is nice and high. I think that's a good offer. I just think the bundles here could be more efficient. Pro tip on bundles, just have one. Simplicity drives action, and having one good offer on a bundle is better than 3. Now, the main strategy for her page is to keep people around, okay? So she's publishing this HD content and lots of it, and it's content that is creating that dream outcome, and essentially she just wants people to keep the renew on. And this is an interesting strategy because it differs from that typical GFE, sext, scale people up, build relationships type of strategy that most creators and agencies use. I imagine they've worked out that we get a better LTV by just encouraging a renew. Let's say a guy spends $5 and subscribes for the first month, and then he spends $20 to keep the renew on, even just once. $25 LTV. That's not bad, okay? For a creator at that volume, yes, you could argue there's a lot of room for improvement, right? I mean, we have some LTVs at $70, $80. You've also got to apply the context here, and shooting for $70, $80 LTVs, it's unrealistic. I think a $25 LTV as a baseline, remember, this is just a minimum expectation for 1 month of renew. It's a pretty good minimum. As far as keeping that renew on, I mean, their entire page is strategized around this transactional value of like, hey, I'm Jellybean, you love my content, I'm gonna give you loads and loads and loads of it, just keep my sub price on. It seems like a small request, it seems like an easy ask. It's probably easier to ask somebody to stick around than it is to ask somebody to buy this PPV. Right? But they're already getting all of the content, and they're getting so much of it, and it's such good value that it's like a no-brainer. Why would you turn the renew off if you love this creator enough to subscribe in the first place? Because bear in mind, we're only targeting this to the really warm leads that have already clicked sub. Okay, so they're already invested in her, and all she's asking them to do is stick around. But she's going to give them all of this stuff if they do. The value is huge. The offer is awesome. And one pro tip here is that she doesn't have the auto follow back feature on. And so she's not actively following you back when you subscribe. And so what that means is that if you want to continue to talk, you want to continue to see the content, you have to subscribe, okay? A lot of people will have that auto follow back feature on so that they can message even if that person unsubscribes. This is a good strategy for trying to retarget people with a new offer, get them to resubscribe, reach out to old leads. I mean, it's a good strategy, but in this particular instance where it's all about keeping the renew on in order to keep access to her and her valuable page, actually turning that feature feature off so that if they want to engage, they have to sub. I think it's a really effective tool. And so all in all, if you're watching this as a creator or even as an agency trying to take inspiration for how to grow your creators like Jellybean, then the main take home that I'm going to give is that the social content has quality and quantity. And it seems like an easy strategy, right? I mean, in fact, aren't we all shooting for quality and quantity in every aspect of our life? Yeah, but she's really got that right, okay? Because the content is original, okay? It's unique. She's actively coming up with the trends, and she's shooting it in a way where it's super engaging, it's baiting commenting, it's baiting engagement, it's baiting sharing, and it's also conveying a level of sexual interest and promiscuity in the way that the content's produced. And so as far as the content quality, she's absolutely crushing it. And I honestly believe that that is why Jellybean is where she is. If you'd like me to do a more deep dive into actually getting on the chats, having a chat with this account and seeing where it goes, or even review any other creators, then drop a comment below and we'll get right to it.